Alright, Shalom. It's the brother Gamal Ya'Allah out of GMS ATL. Alright, first of all, giving all praise to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. Alright, also double honors to the apostles, the elders that rule well. And also Shalom to all the Akim that are pushing out this truth with sincerity. Alright, this is basically news and prophecy video update installment, if you will. I'm just going to go straight into it. I got a few articles I'm going to bring out. Alright. This is, it says, Australian researcher uses RFID to track preschoolers' activity levels. Alright. Karen Tong, a researcher with the University of Wollongong Early Start Research Institute, is using an RFID-based solution to track the movements and proximity of students and educators and preschool playgrounds, thereby providing insight regarding how much teacher engagement influences the level of activity in children. Alright. The study will aim to provide educators and other interested parties with information regarding the extent to which teachers can influence how active children are during their early education years. Alright. So, they're trying to push this chip for research. Alright. They're trying to make it seem like, they're doing this for the schools, all right, for the betterment of the children, and like track their movements and see the effect on that teachers have on children. All right, and this is just to lead up. This is all leading up to them implanting it and making it mandatory. What they're doing is just stuff like this, just gearing up to that. All right, and this is off the RFID journal. That's pretty much it on that. Oh, listen to this. The project's goal is to learn how teachers can influence their students' behavior, with the premise being that greater physical activity improves a child's health and well-being. All right, and they're gonna, the next step of this would be for them to, give it to the children in case they get kidnapped, all right? Because you see health and the child's health and well-being. So they're gonna try to push it. Oh, what if if my child gets kidnapped, we'll be able to find him, and just certain shit like that. Like if a child gets lost or whatever. All right. So that's that. Next article is Australian government prepares to punish parents who don't vaccinate children. Alright. The Australian government is set to pass a law that would withhold childcare and other benefits from parents who opt out of vaccinating their children. Under the No Jab, No Pay bill introduced to the Parliament, the conscientious objector category would be removed, making parents ineligible for full government benefit for not immunizing their children. Youngsters would only be exempt due to medical reasons. All right. There's been a rise in unvaccinated children under age 7, all right, due to parental concern over potential side effects of vaccines and worse. Look at that. Due to parental concern over the potential side effects of vaccines, all right. Over the past decade, the number of children who aren't vaccinated has increased. All right, so these parents, they know what's going on, man. They don't, because no one knows what's in these vaccines, man. These vaccines are fucking these children up. That's why you got all these, children walking around fucked up nowadays, man. Because they're putting all this shit in these immunizations and vaccines, all right, and it's fucking the children up, man. It's fucking their heads up. Not to mention the fluoride and all the damn estrogen that's in the food, the fluoride that's in the water. All right, Esau is really fucking this place up, man. And they got the nerve to make these things. This is just this is coming to America too. This is in Australia, but this is coming to America. All right, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, America already does this. All right, but that just goes to show you don't own your children. All right, because they could push things on you, that your children got to do. All right, and if you don't comply with it, all right, then they're gonna take your children away. you know, so that's just straight up BS, man. You know, but that's what they doing. All right, all right. So that's it on that. They also gonna make this chip mandatory. Okay. All right. Not only vaccines, but they gonna make this chip. They're gonna start punishing you for not taking that chip. All right. Now this is we're gonna get into some news. All right. It says U.S. to bring in new advanced nuclear bombs to Germany. All right, and I'm just gonna play the video. All right. It's gonna have an ad, I think. All right, well, it's a lot. The video's not loading. All right. Oh, there it is.
The glucose metabolism in a dog's brain begins to change.
I'd like to see her go back to her more, social.
Hold on, it's a lot. It's advertisement playing somewhere.
Started changing. It was shocking.
Let me find
much
it.
more aware.
Bear with me 1 second,
The difference has been incredible. She wants to learn things.
Purina Pro Plan Bright Mind promotes alertness and mental sharpness in dogs 7 and older. Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs.
All right, here we go.
To station a new batch of its atomic bombs in Germany.
Total explosive force of 80 Hiroshima bombs.
The move would go against calls from German lawmakers and a pledge from the country's government, which said that it would seek the removal of US nukes. Here's our Berlin correspondent Peter Oliver.
Now, 6 years ago, we were looking at a completely different situation. We saw lawmakers in Parliament all debating furiously against these weapons, saying that Germany shouldn't have them, that it didn't need them on its territory, and they should get rid of them.
Deutschland kann einen Beitrag zur nuklearen Abrüstung leisten. Das erste wäre, dass wir den Abzug der noch vorhandenen US-Atombomben in Deutschland fordern. Wer braucht denn diese Atombomben? Die Deutschen am allerwenigsten, Europa nicht und die USA.
In 2010, the Bundestag said that it was in the best interest of the German people to get rid of these weapons, to send these US nuclear weapons back to the United States. We've heard from former senior parliamentarians who held positions in Angela Merkel's previous cabinet saying that the idea of allowing the US to do this, well, it was only going to provoke Moscow and antagonize Russia.
these new attack options against Russia are consciously provoking our Russian neighbor.
We did hear as well a statement from...
Alright, so I'm just gonna stop there, but that's what they're doing, man. They're provoking Russia, man. That's what they're doing. Alright, and I'm gonna let's see. Look at this. U.S. accuses Russia of missile violations to cover Europe deployment plans. Alright, and let's see. Let's go on. U.S. and Russia playing nuclear chicken with each other. Alright, and let's read this. Moscow has been critical of the entire nuclear sharing program between the U.S. and European countries because U.S. has, they're sharing arms with their allies, right? And Russia's saying it breached the spirit of nuclear non-proliferation treaty because they all have treaties to disarm and get rid of these arms, but really the opposite is going on, which forbids the transfer of nuclear weapons to non-nuclear states. All right, so the U.S. is pretty much given these non-nuclear states or countries the power, I mean their nukes. Washington insists the nuclear proliferation treaty does not forbid it to keep nuclear weapons in Europe as long as they remain under control of the U.S. troops. That's bullshit. Because they always Esau, man. They always try to find a workaround in the damn in the agreement. Russia's concern about the nukes partially comes from the fact that U.S. trains troops of European nations, including those not hosting American nuclear weapons at all, to deploy them. Listen to that. All right, so they're training these European nations that don't even have nuclear weapons, but they're training them on how to deploy them. All right, and they say that harms the regional stability and threatens Russia's national security. All right, so that's it on that. But just to show you, I got more articles on between Russia and United States, but that's just to show you that, the U.S. is sharing arms, man, with their allies. All right, so all the nukes, all these countries gonna have nukes, man. All right, now let's see. America puts boots on the ground in Syria. So if you've been keeping up with the news, you know that all eyes are on Syria right now. Okay, the U.S. is basically what's going on in Syria. All right, you got Assad, all right, who is the prime minister or whatever. All right, and then you also got ISIS, all right, which is led and created by the CIA. All right, and General Assad, all right, he's fighting these ISIS troops. All right, and also the Syrian public, the Syrian population. All right, most of them are against ISIS as well, but ISIS is infiltrating. All right, they're fucking everything up. All right, and they're just really a real militant group. I mean, you brothers know what ISIS is, if you've been watching the news, but Russia is on the ground, is on the side of Assad, General Assad. All right, because Russia and all these other foreign powers know that ISIS is run by is a CIA organization. All right, so Russia is basically getting ready to. I mean, Russia and United States. All right, they're butting heads in Syria. All right, because Russia's like, don't quit messing with Syria. And United States is telling Russia, get the hell out the way. All right. Now let's see. America puts boots on the ground in Syria. All right, the numbers are still small, but America may be looking at mission creep in the treacherous Middle East. All right, the end of summer, it means back to school shopping, tearfully ended beach romances. The last, all right, whatever. Read on. As if I'm gonna skip on a little bit. Is that as if Washington weren't satisfied with the game in Ukraine? The last month has seen a flurry of reports about its ever-expanding military involvement in Syria. One report has even alleged that American pilots are geared up to fly missions alongside their French and British allies. All right, dropping bombs not just on Islamic State, but on Assad's forces, who may or may not be aligned with Russia or its regional partners. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, you see, the United States and its allies, French and British allies, they're dropping bombs. All right, and like I said, Assad is joined with Russia. So if you're dropping bombs on Assad, then really, because Russia is arming Assad and his forces. All right, he's arming them. So Putin is arming them. So you know, if you messing with Assad's army, really you messing with Russia as well. Now let's see. Several sources consulted for this story said that Kremlin is being unusually cagey about America's reinvigorated role in Syria. A former Russian officer told me, "I'm being told things like, we really can't talk about this." That indicates to me that there's some truth to those allegations. Okay. Let's see. I'm just trying to read on. Yeah, well, that's pretty much it on. That's pretty much it on that. And I got some more. I got some more articles. All right. France ready to bomb Syria in self-defense, says the foreign minister. France says it may carry out airstrikes against the Islamic State targets in Syria as an act of self-defense. Last week, French aircraft started to undertake reconnaissance missions over Syria. On Monday, French President Francois Hollande said French military sorts in Syria would soon expand to include airstrikes against Islamic State. We are part of the coalition in Iraq against ISIS, Holland said. All right, we started reconnaissance, I can't pronounce that word, to enable us to consider airstrikes if they were necessary, and they will be necessary in Syria. We received specific intelligence indicating that the recent terrorist attacks against France and other European nations were organized by Daesh, Arabic derogatory term for ICE in Syria. Due to this threat, we decided to start reconnaissance flights to have the options for airstrikes. Alright, so there's a lot going on in Syria. Alright, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of things brewing, man. And as we know, once they go into Iran, man, that's it, man. and this chip goes out. And by the way, today is the 23rd. All right, or today was the 23rd. It's the 24th now because it's night. But yesterday was the 23rd, and we were waiting to see if anything would happen. But as you know, the elites, they don't. There's a lot of whistleblowers. All right, so they gotta change the plan up. All right. Now, like I said, within the next month, next couple weeks to a month, all right, we gotta be prepared, or keep our eyes open, for any terrorist attacks or anything, all right, because we know that it's gonna come in the form of ISIS, all right. ISIS is gonna hit American soil, all right, and then they're gonna deploy, troops on American soil, and they're gonna make it seem like, oh, they're gonna implement martial law and make it seem like they're protecting the citizens, all right, when really they're just gonna strip. They're gonna force that chip and strip all the rights from you dudes, from you niggas. All right. Now listen to this. Actually, I got a preset real quick before I bring this out. Bring out a couple of precepts, man. All right. This is Matthew 24, and I'll start in 6. And this is a precept we bring out a lot, but it's really relevant, man. All right. This is Matthew 24 and 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. All right, so all right, all these rumors of wars, because all the articles that I brought out, all right, all these all the articles about Syria and aggression. All right, these are just rumors of wars. All right, and all these things got to come to pass. So, meaning, before you just have war, you gotta have a you gotta have events leading up to that war. All right, and really, it's already war. Really, we're already in the war. The third woe. All right, we're already in the war. I guess I shouldn't say we, but America's already in the war. Okay. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All right. So I sit on that, but like I said, kingdom shall rise against kingdom, and that's what's happening right now. Okay. You got two sides, all right, brewing up. You got the BRICS and you got NATO. All right. Pentagon updates plans for war with potentially aggressive Russia. This is a huge article. All right. Listen to this. The Pentagon is reportedly reviewing and updating its contingency plans for a war with Russia, because they know it's going to happen, for the first time since the collapse of the Soviet Union, with a defense official telling U.S. media that Russia's actions prompted the assessment. Given the security environment, given the actions of Russia, it has become apparent that we need to make sure to update the plans that we have in response to any potential aggression against any NATO allies. A senior defense official familiar with the plan told Foreign Policy. Russia's invasion of eastern Ukraine made the U.S. dust off its contingency plans. All right, they were pretty out of date. All right, Moscow, however, has repeatedly denied having a role in the Ukraine conflict, despite accusations by Kyiv and its Western backers that it it has supported the rebelling eastern Ukrainian regions. All right, let's see. Okay, according to a senior defense official, the new plan focuses on hypothetical Russia and current incursions into the Baltics and have two parts. One focuses on what the listen to this. One focuses on what the U.S. can do as a part of NATO if Russia chooses to attack a member state. And listen to this. While the other considers U.S. action independent of NATO. All right. But now let's see. Listen to this. But President Putin told Italian media in June that such scaremongering should not be taken seriously, adding that Russia's military is not global, offensive, or aggressive. Alright. And that it has virtually no bases abroad. So that was a shot to U.S. because, of course, they have bases abroad. And Russia's not offensive, man. Russia's defensive. All right, but the United States is constantly provoking Russia. All right, it's kind of like someone that just picks on you every day. They just in school they're just picking on you every damn day, and then eventually, you're gonna snap, man. It's Putin saying, "I think only an insane person." And only in a dream can imagine that Russia would suddenly attack NATO. I think some countries are simply taking advantage of people's fears with regard to Russia. They just want to play the role of frontline countries that should receive some supplementary military, economic, financial, or some other aid. Putin said at the time, and that was back in June when he said that. So let's see, that was like 2 months ago. That was about 2-3 months ago. So, Putin, of course, his mind, his things have changed since then. All right, a lot of things have happened since June. All right, number one, and number two, the Most High is putting that spirit in Putin. All right, to be like, fuck it, man. All right. But meanwhile, U.S. Let's see. The U.S. is taking part in a coalition bombing campaign against ISIS. All right. While Russia has begun providing military equipment for use by Syrian forces. But while the U.S. apparently views Russia as a threat, Moscow says NATO and its eastward expansion is the real cause for concern. All right. Let's see. So there you go. You got these two battling sides. All right. Russian Deputy Defense Minister Anatoly Antonov said NATO is provoking Russia into an arms race. All right, after there were reports American missiles put in a certain location and about certain ammunition depots in Eastern European countries and the Baltic. Both Russia and NATO have been staging military drills with each side watching the other. All right. In August, the U.S. military launched the largest NATO airborne drills in Europe since the end of the Cold War. All right. And listen, the effort was met by Russia earlier this week when more than 95,000 troops belonging to Russia and its regional allies launched the annual center exercises that span from Volga to Siberia. The large-scale drills were the biggest Russia has seen since the Cold War. All right, so the Cold War is pretty much continuing. All right. Look at this. This is new. This article's from the 23rd, which is yesterday. Russia threatens to deploy ballistic missiles in retaliation for U.S. nuclear escalation. Listen to this. Things are heating up, man. The Lord is working, man. And actually, let me go ahead and bring out another precept too. All right. Slow. All right, slot. Here we go. Joel 3:9. Joel 3:9. How is it? Oh, here it is. All right. Okay. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords. All right, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. So, all right, everything is being invested in arms, man. That's what this Cold War is about. All right, all your money, all the money, the economy, the GDP, right, is going into war. It's going into arms. So that's what's going on right now. All right. That's all I'm gonna bring out on that. But all right. Now let's see. I got another one. Actually, I'm gonna wait on that one. We'll go ahead and bring out this article. Russia threatens to deploy ballistic missiles in retaliation for U.S. nuclear escalation. All right. On Tuesday, we noticed with some alarm that the U.S. is to deliver 20 new nuclear bombs to Germany, each of which has 4 times the destructive power of one that has dropped on Hiroshima. Let's see. Of course, as we documented extensively of late, NATO has never been shy when it comes to conscious provocations of the Russians, and that goes double in the wake of Moscow's annexation of Crimea and subsequent support for the separatist movement in eastern Ukraine. Still, war games are one thing, but nuclear escalations are entirely another. And if ever there were a time when nuclear saber rattling could prove especially dangerous, it's now. You hear that? As the U.S. and Russia are one accident, quote-unquote accident, from open war in Syria. It's gonna get popping. Russia's foreign minister immediately condemned the delivery of the bombs to Germany. All right. Warned that the move represents an infringement of Articles 1 and 2 of the treaty. All right. Well, sure enough, the Kremlin is now hitting back. Russia may deploy Iskander ballistic missiles to enclave of the Kaliningrad if the United States upgrades its nuclear weapons in Germany. The Interfax news agency cited a military source as saying on Wednesday, a final decision will be taken after detailed analysis of the potential threat. What is the Iskander, you ask? Well, here's a helpful description. The Iskander missile system is one of the most deadly weapons in the Russian arsenal. First fielding in the 1990s, the Iskander is a high-precision tactical ballistic missile system optimized for use at close ranges. Alright. Iskander missiles are capable of being loaded with nuclear warheads. Listen to this. Watch this. Watch this missile. It won't let me make it full screen. Come on, man. Damn. Watch that. You see that? Look at that. You think Russia playing, man? Russia ain't fucking playing, man. Alright. This is another step, and unfortunately a very serious step toward antagonizing the tenseness on the European continent. Unfortunately, if these plans come to light, with taking into consideration Germany's Bundestag's decision and so forth, one could say that they are steadfastly headed to establishing this. Of course, this may lead to a strategic imbalance in Europe, and therefore naturally will make Russia take according steps and countermeasures to establish parity, because naturally this is not a step towards boosting stability, increasing trust, or providing security in Europe. That's it on that, man. That was on Blacklisted News. Alright, and this is the last article I want to bring out, and then I'm going to bring out a couple precepts. 5 cool weapons showing why the world can't ignore Russia. Look at this. There are many reasons why Russia should not be messed with, and its military capability is certainly one of them. Here are 5 Russian weapons that can impress friends but worry foes. Alright, which are already in service or in the pipeline. Alright. PAKFA. Sukhoi's next generation fighter jet is currently undergoing trials. The air superiority aircraft has super maneuverability and an arsenal of air-to-air and air-to-ground missiles to carry in its internal bays. Alright, it's a helicopter, I guess. Or maybe... I don't know what this is. Alright, the Mi-2NM is the advanced variant of Mills' Night Hunter tank killer gunboat. It will have a new radar system, new sensors for night operation, and an upgraded helmet for pilots. Alright, the Armata platform. Okay, so I think that was this helicopter looking thing up here. This is the Armata platform is the first completely new armor that has been developed by post-Soviet Russia. It is multifunctional and can be transformed into several weapons, including a main battle tank, a fighting infantry vehicle, and a self-propelled artillery piece. Armata vehicles rolled down Moscow streets for the first time this year during Victory Day celebrations. Look at that. The S-400 is the latest operational version of the successful long-range surface-to-air missile systems deployed by Russia and its allies over the years. They can down jets and missiles and can defend important sites like military headquarters or nuclear silos from any nasty surprises. See, Bory-class nuclear submarines are Russia's future naval component of the nuclear deterrent. Armed with a dozen Beluga SLBMs, these vessels lurking in the depths of the world's oceans and seas would make any country think twice about launching an attack on Russia. Look at that, man. The Russians ain't damn playing, man. Alright, so that's it on the articles. I'm going to bring out some precepts. Alright. Alright, bear with me 1 second, bros. Alright, this Ezekiel 38:2. Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog, the chief priests of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord God, behold, I am against thee, O Gog. It's talking about Russia. The Lord is against thee, the chief priests of Meshech and Tubal. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. Alright, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen. Alright, that's what the Lord is doing. Alright, he's arming Russia. And all thine army, horses and horsemen, all them clothed with all sorts of armor, even with a great company, bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Alright. Let's see. After many days, be thou prepared and prepare thyself, thou and all thy. This is down at 7. Be thou prepared and prepare thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. After many days thou shalt be visited, and in the latter days thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste. But this is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Alright. So like I said before, the Lord is getting ready to, the Lord is putting that spirit, that old that old Soviet Union spirit back into Russia. Alright. And let's do, let's see. Alright, and Revelation 28, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is the sand of the sea. Alright, Salah. And when the thousand years be expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is the sand of the sea. Alright. Like I said, that Gog and Magog, that's talking about Russia. Alright. And, okay. To gather them, it says, to gather them together to battle. Alright. So that's what's getting ready to happen. And let's see, I got one more precept. It's Isaiah 13:9. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel with both wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Alright. For the stars of heaven and the constellations shall thereof shall not give their light, and the sun shall be darkened in its going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness and the terrible. Alright, so the Lord is getting ready to take down this white man. Alright. And he's gonna lay the land desolate. What's that name? Desolate. What's that land? That's America. Alright. And destroy the earth. Alright, because the scriptures say the slain of the Lord shall be many. Alright. So, you know, that's just a news update. Alright. Lord willing, you brothers were edified. Alright. And you know, Lord willing, we gotta get out of here soon. Alright, salutations to all the Akim. Alright, double honors to the apostles. Alright, shalom.